All right, let's go on a little rig rundown here. Um, Lots of times I get asked on almost every video actually that what am I using? How am I getting that sound? Where's the overdrive coming from? So this video will just explain all of it. Let's start over here with the tone cabinet. This is a 21H Leslie. Not sure which year. Haven't really looked into it and don't really care because it doesn't matter that much. I do have a Hamtone speed controller hooked up to it, and this came with this organ. So as far as I know, these two have been paired forever. And I only recently just added that speed controller so I can get the slow and the fast out of it. We can go moving on this way now because that's done with. This is a 1955 Hammond C3 organ. Barely any modifications done to it whatsoever. I did replace the capacitors in the tone generator, and that had to be done because this came with the original wax capacitors, and those were quickly dying. So it's got Mylar caps inside of it now. But still, the core of this organ is basically stock. I mean, the tubes, they look like they came straight out of the 50s. So I would imagine that these probably still running on at least the original, 12 AU7s and, all the preamp tubes in there. I think the rectifier tube was replaced, but usually those get replaced. So let's just give a little quick overall shot of this thing. It's in very nice condition. I don't know how many people this has changed hands through. I really honestly think it's probably only one or two people. This was found in a warehouse downtown Tacoma. Somebody's dad had passed away, and they were going through all the stuff in his little warehouse of sound equipment and what other ends and odds that he had in there, and this was one of the things, and listed it on Craigslist and picked it up for a really good price. Actually, it came with that Leslie. So as far as I know, I mean, these things have been together probably that Leslie's whole life, and maybe this organ's whole life. Well, let's take a quick trip around so we can see what I've got going on top of the organ, so I can talk about the slight modifications I've done to it. So this mess all right here is an effects loop. I am running MXR 10-band EQ, just a little bit of treble boost, gain all the way up, volumes set like in between 12 and 6, and that is so that I can actually get a fully clean tone, because if I'm running this at 12, I can't find any position on my expression pedal that gives me no dirt whatsoever. This is just a noise gate, unimportant. And this is a stopbox modeler that's just running a 63 spring reverb. And that's it. That's all I have in this little effects loop. Let's talk about where this effects loop is tied in, and then I'll talk about the weird things you might notice right here. So it is tied in. You can see that gray cable. That is the 2-conductor shielded security cable. This thing will focus. There it goes. And that yellow wire is the input to the non-vibrato channel on the AO28 preamp. And so basically this effects loop is kind of just tapped in right before the preamp, so it comes out straight from the matching transformer to the effects loop and then into the preamp. And I will tell you why in just a second. So you can see, let's go over back here. This is obviously been modified. This is actually connected to an expression pedal, and what I'm doing with that expression pedal is I am attenuating the output of this pedal. And for those of you who are familiar with tube amps, you know that boosting a signal and then feeding it to a tube amp will cause the tube amp to distort, to overdrive. And that is the secret sauce for the overdrive I'm getting from this organ. This is just an expression pedal that I rigged up. I had to modify some stuff in here, and this allows me to control, again, attenuate the output and therefore attenuate the gain, the drive that I'm getting out of this AO28. Let's go around the front. You can take a look at that. So this is, again, this is the expression pedal. That's how I control my drive. And then this basically just acts like a master volume now. So now I have control, full control over the volume and the drive. So I can be John Lord without blasting people's socks off. Because people who own these Leslies will know that these 21Hs in particular, with that 31 amplifier in it, it's just so loud. It's got 4 6v6 tubes on it, and it's ridiculous. I think it's only rated at 40 watts, but holy crap, that's a lot of 40 watts. the amount of power that I can push through that thing is ridiculous. And I've been playing around with it. I've only ever pushed it full volume one time, and that was enough for me because my ears were ringing after that. So let's go and just play a little bit to kind of show you like how I'm using these controls and stuff. Might be a little hard because I'm using one hand, but let's see. That's about as much overdrive as I usually get from this thing. And that gives me John Lord tones there. You know, I can play. John Lord stuff. And then if I wanted to, I can just feather. I can feather that and get, you know. Basically. My clean tone. And I could really just push it anywhere in between that. And I still have full control over the volume, even though I can push this thing to almost fuzz levels of distortion. You can play like a little bit of lazy so you can kind of hear what I'm talking about. Yeah, cleans up very nicely, but that's my rig. That's how I get overdrive, and any more questions I will be glad to answer. I'll probably be doing a lot more stuff with this in the future, so you'll probably see a lot more and probably a couple more explanations of what I'm doing and maybe some modification videos. And if you want more Hammond content, there's another one right there, so we could talk about that and why it's taken apart right now. But I feel like that's long enough for this, so thank you for watching. I'll link a video of, like, I'll probably link the Blue Collar Man video down in the description, so you could just listen to the wonderfulness of the overdrive and all of the Leslie in its glory. But stay tuned.